I'm out here, I thought I'd do another short video just introducing the idea, which is good to know, of passive and active joint movement. So generally speaking, a joint has, I'm just shielding the microphone from the wind. Generally speaking, a joint has more movement passively than it does actively. What does that mean? It means if I bend my hand, for example, like this, and try to bend it as hard as I can, I get to there. If I grab my hand and relax completely and bend again, I get to there. This joint can only go so far with the muscles. The muscles at some point are at the end of their tether and they can't pull the joint far enough anymore, either because of tension on one side, lack of strength on the other side. They're working together, they inhibit the complete movement, whereas a passive joint has no inhibition. I can move a passive joint a lot further. That's a good thing to know generally anyway. So if I want to try and move a joint, yes, I can do it actively. Someone with a damaged shoulder, for example, an impingement in the shoulder, possibly a frozen shoulder, depending on which stage it's at. You'd have to look at what, whether the exercise is viable, it's practical for you, but depends on how much movement there is. But you're going to get more movement passively than you are going to get actively. And again, you can add this to lots of things like yoga, martial arts, passive joint movement. So if I move my shoulder actively, I can move it quite a lot. But I'm going to be able to move that more passively. So how am I going to do that? Unless I've got somebody to take my arm and move the arm around for me. That's what therapists are for. I'll take your arm and I'll move it into positions that you can't get into. I'll do it very gently and carefully, I hope. Actually, my patients sometimes say, "You're a sadist." It's not true. Anyway, but the exercise what I will give them for a shoulder, for example, would be, what we do is we turn it around. In German, I would say Punktum fixum, Punktum mobili, umändern oder umwandeln. In English, it's just going for the fixed point, changing the fixed point to the moving point. So every joint has a fixed point and a moving point. And if I'm moving my shoulder, my fixed point is my body, and my moving point is my shoulder. So all of the muscles are moving this joint around. I can't do that maybe because I have to hold the weight of my arm. It's causing muscle tension, which is creating friction in my joint, which is painful. If I could only move it passively, that would be great. Easy. Change the positions. The fixed point, rather conveniently, there's some pallets here, but the fixed point is now my arm, and the mobile point is my body. So I simply move, I leave my arm relaxed. I can't on here because of the tip, but I leave my arm relaxed on something as high as I can get. If I can only get to here, fine, I'll do it there. Maybe I can do it there later, so on, so on, and so on. Relax the arm. This is now the fixed point, and the moving point is now my body. And so if I want to recreate this movement passively, I would do this. If I want to recreate this movement, I'd do this. If I want to recreate this movement, I could do this. I could tip my arm up like this and do it in the same position. So I can move this joint passively as opposed to actively by just turning the fixed point and the mobile point around. And you can do the same thing with the hip. Raise your leg. around your hip. You'll get more movement that way in the joint because the joint isn't holding tension in the muscles in order to move. The joint is relaxed because the body's now moving. There are muscles in the body that are going to be moving the joint, whoops, but they're not the muscles that are going to be rotating the, well in that case the hip or the shoulder, or flexing, depends on the movement. So, nice thing to know, and you can add that to lots of things as well, like martial arts and yoga and so on and so forth. If you have a painful joint like an elbow and you can't bend it actively, it might be a good idea to try and bend it passively. And try it out with different joints. You can do it differently. You can't do it with every single joint, of course, or at least it's very difficult. But there are lots of positions you can get into on the floor to be able to move your hips more passively, your knees more passively. Might come to some of those later. So there's my next tip for you. Hope that was okay with the sound. Who knows? We'll find out.